The TAQ Evolvere is a new LMG that's statistically similar to the MW3 but has a unique feature where you can use 5.56 ammunition and completely change how the gun behaves. It's like two weapons in one. Now, is this weapon worth using? Well, this is a worst to best, so I will be sharing my opinion towards the end, but first we're going to deep dive into the important stats and some best class setups for the TAQ Evo. Along with my opinion at the end, I'll be rating the TAQ between 1 and 5 stars, which you can use to compare the TAQ to other weapons that I've done videos on. Let's start off with damage, specifically for the 7.62 version, and we'll circle back to the 5.56 afterwards. What's nice about the TAQ Evo is that it deals consistent damage. It is a 5-shot kill anywhere to the body at any range. This is the third LMG with a fire rate of 706 rounds per minute, with a similar time to kill to 4 other LMGs, except the TAQ Evo has a 30 millisecond open bolt delay, so your practical time to kill with this weapon is 370 milliseconds at any range. Now, Modern Warfare 3 LMGs as a whole kill slowly in this game, but the TAQ Evo somehow kills even slower, and you need 3 headshots to reduce your time to kill, which isn't practical, so you're pretty much stuck with 370 milliseconds, and you're gonna lose most gunfights that you find yourself in. However, 370 milliseconds is a very nice time to kill to have at long range, and theoretically the TAQ will excel in long range combat on maps like Derail, but you will need to land your shots. The TAQ has some pretty deceptive recoil. At first, I thought this weapon was easy to handle, but as you can see, it has very strong vertical climb, just like the TAQ Eradicator does. And it has a considerable amount of horizontal deviation too. It may not look like it at first, but if you squeeze that height down, the TAQ bounces side to side a lot, especially when you are sustaining fire. Its initial shots are reasonably accurate, so personally, I feel like if I don't get a kill within the first 10 shots, we'll say, I'm spraying and praying with this weapon. Its bullet velocity is below average for LMGs at 805 milliseconds, but that's relatively high and fine for multiplayer. I don't usually talk about this stat, but the TAQ oddly has significantly less target flinch dealt to your enemies. Most full auto weapons in this game have a flinch stat of 0.7 or 0.8. Even the SMGs share this. The LMGs have a bit more at 0.9, but the TAQ Evolvere's is 0.5. I'm not entirely sure how much of an impact that makes to the enemy you're firing at, but it surely is an interesting difference for stats. As for handling and mobility, the ADS and Sprint 2 fire speeds are spot on average at 385 and 245 milliseconds respectively. Strafe and movement speeds are middle of the pack for LMGs, although sprint speeds tend to be a bit on the faster side. And lastly, the TAQ has a slow 6.8 second reload, although you do have a 100 round mag, so you aren't reloading as often with this weapon. You can get an even larger magazine size with 5.56 rounds, which we're going to dive into right now. To convert the TAQ Evo into the 5.56 version, you just need to equip one of 2 5.56 magazine options, and this will significantly change how the TAQ works, and not necessarily for the best. Your damage is reduced, so it's no longer a 5-shot kill anywhere, any range. It becomes a 5 to 6-shot kill within its max damage range from 0 to 32 meters, which means it can take up to 455 milliseconds to kill, which is extremely slow, especially if you're point blank with another enemy. You also need to land your shots to the chest and up to get that 5-shot kill, which isn't very forgiving. After 32 meters, your damage falls off and it becomes a 6-shot kill to anywhere in the body. And then at 37 meters and beyond, the 5.56 version is a 6 to 7-shot kill, and it can take over 500 milliseconds to kill someone with that open bolt delay factored in. And the 5.56 version obviously isn't great for damage, but it does help the TAQ in all other important areas. Your recoil control is greatly improved, actually significantly reduces the TAQ's vertical climb, which just makes it easier to use in all different sorts of scenarios. Your bullet velocity is also boosted to 901 meters per second. So even though the 5.56 version kills slower on paper, it does become much easier to use at long range with these improvements. You also get a slight boost to your ADS, sprint to fire, and mobility speeds with the 5.56 rounds. And even with the 200 round mag option, you still get faster handling and movement speeds at the cost of an ever so slight penalty to your reload speed. So that's cool. I will say the 5.56 version of the TAQ feels more consistent in my opinion, and it is fun to use with that 200 round mag, but there's not much of a reason to use 5.56 outside of the increased accuracy, which may come in handy for modes like Warzone. But if you are wanting to try it, here's the class setup I use in this video. These attachments will increase your bullet velocity, range, and recoil control, and it puts your movement and handling speeds somewhere between the default 5.56 and 7.62 speeds. As for the normal TAQ Evo, I've tried to optimize a class that uses attachments that will penalize range since your range is infinite. I just really couldn't find anything that I was happy with, so this probably isn't the best class setup, and it isn't what I use in the gameplay for this video, but this is what I settled with if you want to try it. It cuts down on recoil significantly, which I think is a big downside to this weapon, and I like to use that zoom optic so it can help me land more shots. That brings us to the TAQ Evolvere's rating out of 5 stars. Hopefully you weren't able to tell so far in this video because I tried to keep it pretty emotionless up until this point, but I absolutely hate this weapon. It felt horrible to use at the start. I looked at its stats, I did some testing, and I can confirm that in fact this is a horrible weapon. It feels sluggish, it feels slow. Typically, I don't feel the open bolt delay for most I shouldn't say I don't feel the open bolt delay, but it isn't much of a factor for a lot of weapons. But you combo that open bolt delay with the slow ADS, the slow time to kill, I just feel like more often than not, I can't win a gunfight to save my life with this weapon. The weapon is incredibly inconsistent, and I feel like that's due to it having wonky recoil and it taking an additional shot to kill than the Pulmiot does, because that increases the odds of you missing a bullet and then increasing your time to kill by nearly 100 milliseconds, and then getting outgunned like I feel like I'm doing all the time with this weapon. The Pulmiot I just feel like is easier to handle. Its headshots are effective, you only need one to reduce your time to kill, plus you have the conversion kit for the Pulmiot, which makes it even better. I can just reliably get kills with that weapon in general. The TAQ Evo, I just can't with this weapon. I want to give it 1 star, but my overall rating will be 2 out of 5 stars. It is a bad weapon. It's barely usable in my opinion, but it does have that long range niche cut out for it if you can figure out how to reliably land shots from afar. Maybe it's just me, but I don't see a reason to use the TAQ Evolvere, and maybe it'll be downgraded in the future, but for right now, that's my opinion. If you disagree, you're always welcome to share your opinion in the comments. Except for the Holger 26, that pretty much goes for all the Modern Warfare 3 LMGs. They're all bad. The Modern Warfare 2 ones are so much better. If you don't believe me, check out my video comparing the Modern Warfare 2 to the MW3 LMGs and see for yourself. Please don't forget to tap like on this video if you haven't already. Consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch y'all on the next video.